Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Tiabu and I am here for Retro Monday OVAdrive. And today we are going to watch California Crisis Tsuigeki no Juka, or Gun Salvo, which is a pretty bad title for what might be a pretty bad OVA, but I don't really know yet. I just know that it has reviews that are all over the place, and if people have talked about one redeeming quality, it is the art style. Cool. I'm here mostly because, well, one, I've had this thing downloaded and sitting on my computer for a while. This is a 1986 OVA coming out of Studio Unicorn, which has folded. It never really got its feet under it. I think they made one other thing in 1987 and then stopped making things. So not much of a studio anymore. Not a studio at all anymore. And pulling it up, it's directed by Mizuho Nishikubo, who has worked on some interesting and some really good things. And some people say that he's a pretty good artist and a pretty good storyboarder and stuff. So we'll see how that translates to this show. But the other reason that I wanted to watch it is because currently we are 2 episodes deep into Great Pretender, which is also set in Los Angeles. Although I don't actually know that this one is set in Los Angeles. I know that it's somewhere in California, but is also set in Los Angeles, and I think is doing a really good job while on the back of a really interesting art style of demonstrating some of the life and times and the way that certain facets of Hollywood and surrounding society works. I expect that this one will do a much worse job, but I'm really interested to see how things have changed over the 30 years ish since this thing was aired, and how the viewpoint of Japanese artists on what it means to be America or Californian may have changed. I am aware that some of the staff went on a sort of a vacation, I think, to California and wandered around for a while and used that as inspiration for a lot of the things that occur in this mini film, OVA. I don't know how much of what they saw they will interpret correctly. That's one of the dangers of anthropology. We see something and we infer its use and its purpose and the way that people are acting around it, and maybe that's not correct. But I'm curious to see, one, like a window into the past, two, a really unique art style, and three, what 1986 a small group of Japanese artists thought California was all about and tried to make a movie about. I've also heard this called like a riff or a ripoff of mediocre American action movies, sort of through the lens of someone who doesn't really speak English and doesn't really know what's going on there. But I'm curious to see how that plays out as well. So we're gonna watch it and we're gonna see if it's terrible. I'm hoping, given that it's a fucking 1986 OVA, that it's got a good soundtrack and some cool scenes. And that's basically the most that I'm hoping for. If it's got interesting ideas present as well, then we will call this a knockdown, slam out, home run win. If it doesn't have interesting ideas, well, at least it maybe will look pretty and maybe will sound good. Cool. Let's give it a watch. So I've got the 1 episode of California Crisis Tsuigeki no Juka, and I would normally tell you at this point which version I downloaded, but again, I've had this sitting on my computer for a month and a half or so, maybe more, so I don't know which version I downloaded. I assume that I went to Nya and I went California Crisis, and I downloaded the first one that had the most seeds. So there you go. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description down there, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. Although, now that I think of it, Studio Unicorn doesn't exist anymore, and I kind of doubt that there... Why you gotta vacuum right now? I kind of doubt that there is a rights holder of this thing, so I might be able to just throw it up on YouTube without a timer version. I'll figure that out in editing. If there's a timer version, there will be a beep beep timer to count you down, and that will be here. If there isn't, well then let's go. Okay. We got the trees. San Diego. Okay, so we're not in LA. That is early in the morning. Ooh, nice car. Oh wait, there's a picture that is exactly this. There's a drawing that somebody showed me as like reference to part of Great Pretender art style that is exactly that car sitting in front of exactly that place, I think. Yeah, what are we reminiscing about? Haha, 8 dozen beers, haha.
早いよなまったく。
一昔か。
Okay, so we're reminiscing about a better
普段には
time.
ガッチガチの銀行員。ワクサはパサディナでクリーニングや。
Basketball team?
女房の店の雇われマスター。そしてノエラ。お前に至っては
Well, thank you for expositing all of this to us, and also Noera, and he's looking through a glass. Oh boy.
マットのやつはニューヨークへ行ったきり音沙汰なし。ジャックは空軍で各地を転々。何やってんのかなあいつら。
年食っちまったな、リロイ。
お前と
Leroy.
違って子持ちだからな。
Oh, okay.
サンディエゴ最高のバスケチームに。そして我らが輝かしき
And
時代
to
に
our best
乾杯。
days, kampai. So that's just how we exposit all the shit.
随分変わっちまったろうな。
俺も酒には強くなったぜ。
Good job.
どうしたノエラ。
Was that just a feeling in his brain
でけえ
place?
音が。
飲みすぎじゃねえのか。
かもな。
Edwards Air Force Base. That's a cool shot. Okay. Yeah, that shot is 100% just ripped from somebody else's heart. 100%. It's just stolen. Ooh. Oh, U-Haul.
相当酔っちまってるな。
Immediately begins driving. Thanks, bro. Nice. Good. What? Welcome to California. I mean, you're not wrong. What? It's not an F-16. What is that? Okay, I don't know if I like the art yet. Okay, I see the resemblance to GP, some of the GP stuff. With the multi-tones on certain buildings and stuff. Okay, I thought I hated this song, and now I really like it. Okay, so he's got a basketball hoop outside of his white picket fence home. Yeah, that's how I shower, too. So what's going on here in the back? Hello, girl. I really like her design. Okay, 10:16 a.m. I don't know that the times matter much, but there we go.
なかなかご機嫌な曲だろ。じゃあここでニュース行ってみようか。ニューススタジオのペギー。
はい、ニュースをお伝えします。今日未明、メキシコ国境近くのパインバレーに隕石が落下しました。
Well, get your hands
調査に
back
当
on
た
the.
っている NASA の話によりますと、この隕石は直径
So has he just been
63
driving
ト
for
ン
4? No,
重
he
さ
went, he
36
showered,
トン
he's
で
going somewhere
強い
else.
放射能物質を含んでいるとのことです。周辺地域では放射能汚染の危険があるため、立ち入り禁止となっております。
はあ。
トロトロ走ってると危ないよ、おっさん。
What?
おっさんはねえだろ。
But I could be your daddy.
ロスまでどんくらい？
Sorry.
なあ、ガキンチョか。
ねえ、聞こえてんの？ロスまで。
100マイル
Little
って
kid.
とこ。
She does not strike me as a little kid. Oh fuck! Oh, those are bad guy
じゃある
clubs.
し。
The hair looks
だけど
great.
危ないだろ。
Oh shit! She's dead. Oh, what the fuck? What? Wait, what? That escalated quickly. Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck? Yeah, okay, sure. You're welcome, I guess. What the fuck?
トーマスたち逃げてますよね。
Probably
逃げて
not,
なきゃ
bro.
粉々になってるだけさ。
そんな。
さ、
そんな。
来ちゃいそう。
What the shit? Oh, yeah, let's just go to a burger joint. What the fuck? What is that thing that I keep seeing?
たくどうなっちまってるんだ。
How does my car still work? Oh no, that
Why?
shot does not look
さっき
good.
のなんだか知ってんのか？
知ってるわけないでしょ。バイクはぶっ壊されるし、たか頭にきちゃう。
It's because of the shading style on her eyes,
大満足。
right? We can see also the shading style on like her neck
こ
and
れじゃバイク代にも
the
なんないだろう
weird
な。
two-tone thing going on here. It's strange looking. It kind of looks
あの
like
トレー
some of
ラー
JoJo's
これら
stuff.
って
Okay, so they got a black box of some
あの
kind.
どさくさに紛れて。どういう根性してんだ。こういうのはな、警察に任せとくんだよ。
警察？冗談でしょ。
一歩間違えば死んでるとこだぞ。
うん、返してよ。
ダメだ。
私のもうよ。
あ
Oh, now it opens. The fuck is that? Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, wow, okay. We tripping. It's the ball of ayahuasca. Ooh. Okay, so they just had a divinatory vision. I recognize it because that's DM tactics right there. Is like, oh, you touch the thing and see a vision of where you need to go. Ooh. Let's go bowling. Woof. You okay there?
ねえ、見たでしょ。
What? No.
たった今見えたでしょ。
Nope.
まさかな。
Nope.
今朝まで酒飲んでたしな。
ねえ。
You've been fully drinking through the morning,
ね
dog,
え、
and
みんな
driving.
今見たでしょ。岩山や砂漠を。
Nope. Where's that?
これだわ。ねえ、どここれ？デスバレー。
Oh,
デ
okay.
スバレー。
Let's go to the hottest place on earth. Cool. I like the way the windows look. I like the way her hair looks. I don't like the way their face looks. It's almost like Night Before Christmas, like somebody like sewn together, because of the two-tone shading.
アメリカンドリーム。
What? It's a
ア
theme.
メリカンドリーム。
あ
It's a theme.
デスバレー行ってみよ
え
う。デスバレー、これ持ってこ。
あ
これはきっとものすごい価値のあるものだわ。
さてと。
She just says it out of nowhere. Off to work? You work?
ビールもう一つお願い。
あのな。
よーく考えてよ。あの2台のトレーラー、あのダッチ、それにあの大砲。
バズーカっての。
そう、それといい。これはただごとじゃないわ。
だから警察に
That was
任
a
せろって。
military transport that just
もう
went
単
by.
純なんだから。
あのな。
What's clear
マフィア
now?
の一味かスパイの攻防か。大の大人がこれを決死の覚悟で奪い合ってるんだわ。
I mean, maybe.
ひょっとしてこれを手にした者は世界を手にするとか。
Okay, she's just making that up.
ラドラムは嫌いじゃないけどよ。
あ
現実はそんなに甘かないの。
Ludlum,
あなたはちゃ
Ludlum.
んと見えたんでしょ
Author？
あの景色が。
なんせ二日酔いだからよ。
絶対にあの場所に行くべきだわ。あなた見てないの？
あ
未知との
OK
遭遇。
これだ。ラドラムの次はスピルバーグときた。世も末だね。
Okay.
未知との遭遇よ。そうだわ。やっぱり UFO だったんだ。
Ah, yoo-hoo!
私ね、今朝 UFO 見たんだ。
あ
これは UFO のものに違いないわ。きっと私たちに訴えているのよ。デスバレー行けって。
はい
ねえ、デスバレー行こう。
俺はこれから仕事。
あなたじゃなくても済むんでしょ、その仕事。
大した仕事じゃなくてもここの払いぐらいできるって。
ビールも。
Uh-oh. Let's leave. Who's that big dude? Fucking out. Yeah, okay. Bye. God, Whoever these government agents are, they have no worry about just revealing themselves and pulling steel.
ただご連絡しましたよ。
Insane.
近くに民間人がいました。
その件は早急に調査させておる。しかしよりによって
White hair guy's, I forget his name, but his voice actor sounds really familiar. Alright, we're in a chase. Yeah, that's how action movies
警察に
work.
任せりゃよかったんだよ。
Suddenly
警
chase
察
scene.
なんて大嫌いだもん。
Oh, cool.
だって好きじゃないけどよ。
Okay, this looks pretty great. The smoke clouds are cool. The cars look good. Fuck.
なんてやつらだ。
What the hell? What? Wait, that's my shit. What? You are strong, little girl. What the fuck? This is a very confusing film.
しつこいな。
But okay, so it's riffing off of the action movie, road movie combo, right? But like, it doesn't understand how either of them work. But we established characters, a goal. None of it makes any sense.
入
Bad
っ
guys.
た。
すごい。7台も来てるよ。
そんなこと言ってる
Why
場
are you
合
happy
じゃ
about
な
that?
い。
What is that fluffy thing? Just the loss
あ
of
と
life.
2台よ。やるじゃない。
あの
Insane.
な。
Gun it.
しっかり踏ん張ってろ。
Yeah, classic scene. Oh. Just the back fender? Yeah, alright. Nice. Classic.
この件は他言無用だ。いいな。
死にそうですよ。朝早くからずっと働き詰めですからね。
会社に
Aw.
まともに付き合ってたら命がいくつあっても足りんさ。
Yeah, because you keep
なんで
losing
こんな
other
風になっちまったんだろ
people's
う。
会社にとっ
lives.
ちゃ俺たちは赤子も同然。
Well, he kills his babies then.
仮眠したら街へ繰り出すか。
This
ラ
is
ジ
a
ャ
fun shot.
軍曹は大佐と違って話がわかりますね。
I will say that the storyboarding has been excellent so far. The actual art is weird and kind of morphy, and it's hard to focus on individual things. So there's something unfortunate about that.
言った通りでしょ。やっぱりこれは UFO の贈り物なのよ。
And then the flow from seed to seed is
絶対
not
デスバレーに
existent.
行かなきゃ。
Oh.
次の町までだ。
え
次の町でお別れだ。
なんでなの？こんなチャンスめったにないよ。
To
あ
what?
なただって
Die?
これがただのボールじゃないことくらい分かってるんでしょ。デスバレーだって見えたんでしょ。
そんなわけもわからんもんのために死にたくないんでね。
でもちゃんと生きてる
あ
でしょ。それにさっき楽しそうだった。こういうの面白いって思わない？
No.
あ、
ねえ、面白いでしょ。
やば。会社に電話入れなきゃ。お
Fun is
かげで偉い
not
目に
the
あったよ。
word I would use. But okay,
つまんない
sure.
やつ。
Maybe that's part of the point. American Dream. Oh, who dis? I'm going to assume the son of a friend. No, I don't fucking know. Okay, we're just calling
明
people.
日から来なくていいってよ。ついてね。
だからあなたじゃなくても済む仕事だって言ったでしょ。
さあさあ、降りた降りた。
ねえ、こんなチャンスじゃないよ。
仕事はクビになるしな。
Bullshit. It's a cat. What? Later. Okay, what's gonna go terribly wrong? Is he just gonna stop and go back? Motherfucker. Gonna make 3 lefts. Is he still drinking?
たく、冗談じゃないぜ。
Dude, you gotta stop drinking and driving. You really must. Bad guy's incoming. She's gonna die.
カイン大佐、すべて手当ては終了しました。
警察は
And they don't recognize the bright red Chrysler.
ございましたが、金でなんとか。
で捕らえた男は
は、ダッジの男たちは何も喋りませんが、やはりクレムリンかと。
奴らも今朝の墜落を察知していたということ
The
か。
それと
Rushkies.
警察の話ですと、ダッジが追っていたのは若い男と女のようです。
その二人が持って逃げたというわけか。でそいつらは
はあ、ただいまヘリで捜索しておりますが、
ヘリ
何分にも秘密裏にとのことなので。
弁解は後にしろ。一刻も早くそいつらを捕らえるんだ。
Bye.
たく、世話焼かせやがって。
Where is girl? Oh, okay.
俺たちを探してる奴がいた。
Hi.
マーシャって呼んで、こいつはフミャ。
It was up there for just a moment. I missed it.
まだデ
I think it
スバ
started
レ
with
ー
an
行くって
M.
決めたわけじゃないからな。
What is his license plate? Again, it's hard to see certain things just because of the way that they look. Does it just say it's baby? Oh yeah, driver fatigue. Definitely not the
それからオレンジカ
bazooka.
ウンティで1台のコンバーチブルが暴走してパトカーとカーチェイスしたって。でも安心してくれ、このクレイジーはたった今逮捕されたってことだ。ほんじゃ次の曲。
You are weirdly happy. It does say it's baby. Well, there goes our car. Fuck.
どう？
Immediately plunges his hands into a hot engine. Nice.
ま、寿命ってとこだな。
Looks like a pretty in good shape car. Okay, so we walk in now.
待って。思い出？
ああ、ローンが残ってた。
ムードのないやつ。
Huh. American Dream. It's really poorly executed so far. It might come together. But he like just walks away from all his shit that he claims to care about. But then his job doesn't care about him. And his car doesn't really matter. And it's not really his. So his whole identity sort of collapses. And his whole identity was centered around, like, drinking a bunch and living in the past when he and his bros played basketball and then drank a bunch. American Dream. And now we're in the nightlife. So far, the soundtrack's been great. Oh, wow. Oh, fuck. No more yay. What? I'm down. Yeah. Let's just have a concert sequence for no reason. Oh, God, that drummer's going off. literally no drums. Oh, I mean, no, like, not the way that those drums were going. What? I'm down, but what? Ow. Thank you, Kit Kat. Yeah, fully go WWE on this bitch. Oh my god, straight through traffic. That drummer is just going off. Beer, huh? Or bottles. Are you okay? Okay, the whole sequence, except for the drummer, looks amazing. It's the first time for me that this style has really worked. Including the fight sequence, because it works in the dark. It doesn't work so well in the light. That's a pretty incredible cut. Honestly, worth watching the whole thing just for this sequence. Nice. This is a much smaller location than I thought they were playing in. Cheers, we got away.
Woo! やったね。
疲れたけどな。
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been drinking all morning, all night, all day. You haven't slept. Meow indeed.
やっぱりこれを狙ってるんだわ。あいつらクレムリンの手先なんでしょ。
あの軍人の話が本当なるな。
まだそんなこと言ってる。あいつらがこれを狙ってるのは事実なのよ。
信じたくても信じられるかよ。俺たちがソ連や合衆国から追われてるなんて、それもへんてこなボールのためによ。
最高の気持ち。やっぱりカリフォルニアに来てよかった。
From
最
where?
高の贈り物。
Yay! What's up? What's wrong? Who? Oh.
しかしよく俺だって分かったな。7、8年ぶりだろう。
あんな下手くそな踊り見たのはハイスクール以来だからな。
お前の口の悪いのもちっとも変わってないな。
ジャック・バーロー君、君の尊敬する人物は？
はい、ジョン・ F ・ケネディです。
その理由は？
はい、アメリカ国民に希望を与えました。
Okay.
ノエラ君、君の尊敬する人物は？
はい、パン屋のジョンソンさんです。
その理由は？
はい、腹ペコの時いつもクッキーをくれます。
What? I mean, I know that they're playing like roles from their childhood or whatever from school, but what?
あん時はお前のことアホかと思ったけどな。
Oh, he is.
マーシャ、こいつはな、ク
Marsha.
ラス1の秀才だったんだぞ。本当なら東部の大学へ行ってるとこだが、空軍なんぞに入っちまってよ。
Did he?
お前ならもう随分出世したろ。まあな。今はどこに？
いろんなところを転々と。ノエラ、お前こそどうしてる？
Was he the guy in the
これ
truck?
が様になんねんだよ。ついさっき失業したばっか。この子のおかげでね。
いいじゃない。大した仕事じゃなかったんでしょ。
これだもん。
どこでこましたのこんな若い子。
そういう色っぽいんじゃないの。
Well,
照れることはないだろ。お前がハイスクール時代泣かした女の子は数知れず。
あのな。
あの頃は良かったよな。
again, that nostalgia for. Oh, we all just did just what we wanted to.
それから土曜の夜のどんちゃん騒ぎ。今日は最高の日だ。こんなとこで懐かしきチームメイトに会うなんて。神もまだ捨てたもんじゃないよな。さあもう一回乾杯しよう。
グーソ
These are the guys. You have to kill them.
すまんのよ。もうタイへ戻るしかんだし。
Oh,
今
sad.
度街へ寄ってくれや、ジャック。あ、リロイがカフェ出してんだよ。店の名はああ、カフェボーダーラインだ。
Weird interaction. Why is she passed out? That's a good-looking scene, though.
いらっしゃい。
Two
一
rooms.
つでいい。
え、
失業中でしょ。
True.
ねえ、どうすんですか？
One room.
よく寝た。
One big room.
ノイラの背中って気持ちいいんだ。
俺はクタクタ。
Yeah, you gotta stop
Yeah,
drinking, dog. Whoa!
私と寝たい？
What?
いいのよ。
Okay,
照れ
people
なくても
keep talking about how young you are. How young are
ああ、
you?
ロリコンじゃねえの。
Because I
無
don't,
理しなくて
I
も
don't
い
think
い
she's
のに。
that young,
ほっといて
but
くれよ。
ugh,
はい。
what the fuck?
たく今の若いやつは。
I like that scene.
バカ。
You gotta stop drinking. Show me the girl in the shower. I'm waiting for something behind that window.
米軍クレムリントレーラーの爆発今朝の墜落 UFO を見たか。
Oh,
気持ちいい。
it was just her reflection.
さあ、明日はデスバレー一直線。
俺はまだデスバレー行くって決めてないの。
We're going.
大体俺たちはよ、このへんてこなボールが何なのかちっともわかんないんだぜ。はい。
Out cold. Nice. Good for her. That sheet looks great. Yeah. Does.
たく羨ましいよな。
I know, right? You gotta stop drinking. That's part of why you can't sleep properly. Alcohol it's a depressant and then a stimulant. It fucks you up.
さて
Good.
とさっぱりするか。
Uh-oh. Air Force.
ねえ軍曹、本当にあるんでしょうかね、スペースマインドなんて。
さあな。ただ大佐は宇宙司令部の創設者の一人だからな。もっとも今は
That
冷や
is
飯を
that
食
is
わされ
Jack
てる。
Vargo. His
も
voice sounds
し
really
あれがスペ
familiar
ース
to
マイン
me.
ドだとしても、大佐はどうす
I
るつもりなんで
wonder
しょうか。
from where.
わからん。すべて大佐の胸の内さ。俺たちはただ命令
I
に従
wonder from
うだ
where.
け。みんなカインに痛いところを
Maybe
掴ま
from
れてるん
like
だからな。
Ginga Eiyu Densetsu or something.
もしですよ、このことが大隊長に知れたら。
そんなこと考えたって今さら始まらん。
Oh yes, sleep with the artifact that bends your brain.
こいつはディスバレーだろうがグランドキャニオンだろうがサハラ砂漠だろうがガソリンのある限り走り続けました。それでいてたったの1200ドルぷっきり。
Back in the
もちろん
day.
頭金なしの24回払い。今買わなきゃ朝もないよ。
ああ、分かった分かった。1200ドルの24回払いね。
荷台は錆だらけよ。
あ
こ
Is
れ
that
でまず
50
100ドルマイナ
bucks?
ス。
50 bucks a month?
さらにマイナス100ドル。
あのねお嬢さん、いくらなんでもそれじゃ商売上がったりでさ。
バネもヘタヘタ。これもマイナス100ドル。まだ他にもたくさんあるけど、まあおまけして900ドルってとこね。
そりゃあんまりでさ。
Down by a third. Nice. What?
冗談じゃないよ。
That's a good gag. I mean, not good, but a funny one. And away we go with the radio blasting. Oh, full color palette swap. Man, they are able to compartmentalize all the trauma that they're going through really well. Bang indeed. Like, stop doing that! Christ. Okay. Heading into desert.
入れるよおじいさん。
あー、喉乾いた。ノイラもライトでいい？
軽いのダメ。クラシックだ。ねえじいさん、デスバレーまではどのくらい？
鳥なら3、4時間じゃ。
あのね。
車でも3、4時間じゃって。
Okay, thanks, bro. I mean, there's nothing to stop you from driving straight. Oh, she says it
私たちは
again.
デスバレーで大きな夢をつかむの。
今は太陽の光を駆け上り、親鳥は日の光で眠る。
To get our hands on a grand dream. Anyway. Drink Coca-Cola. Ah, yoo-hoo. Spooky. Cool framing. Making this place feel
ヘリで
spooky.
捜索してか。
そのリンカーンの男ってこの基地の将校じゃないの？
可能性はあるな。それにここには NASA もある。
NASA が？本当に？ということはやっぱり昨日のは隕石じゃなくて UFO！
考えられないことはないな。
Sure.
本物の未知との遭遇なんだ。
That's a cool shot.
そのキーはデスバレーってことか。
Uh-oh. Oh, hello.
あ、やべ、あいつだ。
あいつって？
将校だよ、リンカーンの。
Hello.
こいつらに間違いない。
Shit.
止まれ
Fuck.
止まらんと撃つぞ。
冗談でしょ。
車は急に止まれないっての知らないの？
そういうこと。
命令だ。止まるんだ。
I
止
don't...
まらんと撃ち殺すぞ。
I mean, okay. We're in a chase scene again. Let's go. It looks good. It looks damn good. Oh my god.
止まるんだ。
Whoa. Commander Deadman. And we foil their plans once more. Yay.
さあ、
Oh.
話してもらおうか。なぜ
Oh, we
俺
have
た
a
ちを追
gun.
ってるのか。
聞くまでもないだろう。お前たちがトレーラーから持ち出したことは調査済み
It
だ。
literally fell into our
我々か
car.
ら逃げ切れるわけがない。ここでおとなしく渡してもらおう。
あのね、立場が違うでしょ。
お前に人が殺せるかな。どうだ、1万ドルで買い取ってやろう。
1万ドル
Nope.
ってわけだ。
All the cloth
貴様
looks
らが
pretty
スペース
good.
マインドを持っていて何
I
の
don't
役
know.
に
I'm
立
gonna
つ。
return it to Death
スペー
Valley.
スマインド？スペースマインド。
Yes, yes, it all makes sense now.
Mind.
Yes.
本当に知らん。
Yes, yes, yes. Mm.
何も知らん奴が持って逃げていたとは。それをどうしようというんだ。
Hey, Jack. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
スペースマイン
Good cat. Oh, he clocked him at the back of the gun. That was okay. And away we go again. This has got to be the last major chase sequence. Helicopters.
そろそろだ。方向さえ違ってなきゃな。
helicopter. Christ, straight through the bed of the truck. But one of them's Jack, right? Oh, hey, buddy. That scene with the bouncing and the way their hair all looked really good. I'm not gonna shoot out a helicopter with a handgun. Oh, you might shoot that guy. Still haven't hit a wheel or an axle or a drivetrain or anything important. Good. Nice. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a scene. What a pilot, too. Yeah, we're fine, I guess. Ball seems indestructible, as apparently is this Ford. Cool scene. Wow. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Great scene. Very over-the-top action movie. Wow.
任務を遂行するんだ。
お願い UFO はどこ？
話が違うぜ。ああ。
Jack, no. Oh, they're dead. Well, I mean, they've survived worse. Oh, no, they're dead. Yeah, wow. Okay, they're alive. We BB fish now. Oh, up, the ball. Whoa. Is it floating them? Okay. Okay. Rainbow. Cool, cool. Where's the ball? Oh. Oh, it broke. Everything inside of it leaked out. So the American dream is empty in the end, eh? Huh. And also, we're just gonna reference Angel's Egg here? Just gonna hard reference Angel's Egg here? Are we referencing Angel's Egg? Can we be? How does the timing work out? I don't know. I don't think it matters. Even if we were, it wouldn't matter. The fuck? Well, we're gonna die. They're going to kill us now. But I don't think we're gonna have time for that because I think we're gonna hit credits. That's a different car. Okay, whatever. Oh, it's the same song. Hollywood stars. Outsider living only in his dreams. Okay. And that's the end. Okay, that's a weird 45 minutes. There are some things about this OVA that I like. I said at the beginning that if we just got some cool soundtrack and some cool visual moments, I'd probably be happy. And let's be honest, it definitely delivered on those fronts. Now, there are a lot of visual moments that don't work for me, partly because of the art style, but there are a lot that do. A lot of the background art is really cool. The chase scenes are, I wouldn't call them like immaculate. I wouldn't call them like really, really, really top tier, but they're quite good. And we don't see hand-drawn vehicles this way except in this era of animation, right? Like, we just don't. We'll see them in things like Gunsmith Cats. We'll see them in things like Riding Bean similarly, right? But we see them here, and they look really good. Those vehicle chase scenes look great. But they're kind of incoherent. And incoherent is kind of a word to use for the entire movie. And so I'm in this weird position where there are things in this film that I want to ascribe meaning to, because that's the nature of things. We see things as patterns, and we see things as having intentional symbolic meaning. But I don't know how much of that meaning is actually intentional, and how much of it is just throwing together elements that the artists think might work, kind of, and then they kind of do, but they kind of don't. And even if those elements do work, they're given to us in a really, really haphazard, really almost silly way. So let's track the story as it goes. Guy getting drunk at bar, talking to his friend about the old days, goes back home, showers, goes out again, and starts driving. I don't know where he's driving to in the morning. It's not clear. It doesn't really matter. Gets passed by cute girl on motorcycle, and then they get passed in turn by two giant semi-trailer trucks being chased by agents of the Kremlin, at which point one of the guys in a fucking van pulls out a bazooka and shoots a semi-trailer truck, causing them all to spiral out and go off-road. At which point his Chrysler continues working just fine, and we get in it and drive down the beach away from there, before ending up in a sequence of go to bar to continue getting drunk, and then get chased away by, or a burger place or wherever, and get chased away by bad guys. But in the process, we have a box fall into our car. Like our characters don't do anything to get the thing, right? It just happens to them. It's just happenstance. It's just luck. Or maybe unluck, depending on how you look at it. They touch the ball that's inside the box inside a hamburger joint and see a vision of Death Valley. And she holds on to it and is immediately enthralled by this idea that, one, like, it's a UFO, it's something supernatural, it's something important, maybe we hold the destiny of mankind in our hands, which is, like, maybe supported by the fact that all these people are after it, but we don't fucking know what it does. It could be a weapon, who knows? And then she says, like, this is the delivery of thematic ideas that's silly. And immediately I'm going, okay, theme. But it's so blatant. It's like, there's no build to it. It's just wonky. She just says, American Dream. Like, oh, we have to introduce this idea to the audience, because how else are they going to get what the fuck we're putting down? And that strikes me as like, them understanding that what they're putting down is not being gotten across. Like, it doesn't exist in the movie, really. Weird. But there are a bunch of little things that speak to maybe the era and the time of flippantness, and weird economic choices. But our character, Noera, is like, he's a drunk motherfucker. He's probably in his mid-20s, and he is living in the past, right? Like, all he can really talk about with his friends is how great it was back when they were in high school, and, quote, we all did what we wanted to. Like, that was the ideal, was just doing whatever the fuck we wanted. And that's a really hollow ideal, kind of like the ball at the end is hollow, right? But then that doesn't really track, because that's not the American dream. The American dream is you work hard towards something and you will achieve things, which sometimes is true and sometimes isn't, and sometimes is hollow and sometimes isn't. And a part of that, I suppose, is just luck. But there are all these other elements to Noera's life that show us a person who would be easily convinced to go on some kind of adventure like this, but also show us like a dramatically sad life that he's living, kind of going nowhere. He's got this nice car, and that's the first thing that we see about him is like the nice car, the red, the bright red sort of Chrysler thing, right? But it's not his, right? He hasn't paid off the loan, and his job that he says that he kind of cares about, and he's initially like, oh, I have to go, I can't do this adventure. I refuse the call to adventure in the Campbellian sense, right? Which is classic hero writing, but I don't think Noera is a hero character. I don't think he fits James Campbell's like hero. I can't do that because I have to go to my job, right? But then her response to that is anyone can do that work, and it turns out to be exactly the case. That work-life thing that he's doing doesn't matter at all. So is the idea of this movie like a road movie, fuck it all, just go off on an adventure and that's what matters? But then the adventure that they go on is hollow and almost gets them multi-killed multiple times, right? And they don't really gain anything from it. You know, one version of this movie would be maybe I cannot tell how old this girl character is supposed to be, but maybe she's a little bit older and maybe they fall in love, and like the thing that they get out of this adventure is some sort of a stable romance of some kind, right? Like that's the goal state. They lose the ball thing, that whole dream evaporates, but they gain connection, right? Because that would work for the story, because of how disconnected Noera seems from his like daily life, and how I mean, she's from nowhere. She's not from, we don't know where she's from, and none of that really matters because we don't care. But she's not from San Diego. She doesn't have roots anywhere. She's just on a bike going somewhere. Just a traveler who whisks him up into her own insanity. And maybe that's the point of the story. Is don't get whisked up into the insanity of somebody else and follow them on their UFO chasing dreams. But then what's the alternative to that is to stay and keep working at his job that he doesn't care about, and the job that doesn't care about him in turn, in order to pay off the car that doesn't matter, simply so that he can continue going to his friend's bar, reminiscing about the past and getting drunk all hours of the night and day. There's this really, like, I wouldn't call it deep, but it's ever present nihilism to the film. Like, there's this sense of shiny things and fun moments, and then in between that, the only thing to do is to self-medicate with alcohol and just drink a shit ton. But there's also an element to this discussion where I feel like I'm imposing my own like values and perspectives on a film that really doesn't have any to begin with. And that's weird and tough. But even if a film really doesn't have value to begin with, that in and of itself, or values present in the storyline and in the writing, that in and of itself is like a that tells us something about the people writing and making it. Or it tells us about their perspective on what they've seen of California and what they've seen of America. And that might ring true. It might ring true that they have toured through 1985-86 America, or 1985-86 California, San Diego, Los Angeles area, and seen a bunch of people going nowhere, not knowing what they're doing, reminiscing about the past, getting fucked up at all times, not just with alcohol, but with many drugs, and wishing for something beyond that. And something about that maybe rings true to me, but in a weird way. Okay, let's skim the film, and we'll talk about some of the cool scenes. The first thing that strikes us is the art style, of course, right? And it is super unique. The tonal shading is really interesting, and it's very different from scenes in the dark to scenes in the light. I think that in the scenes in the dark, it actually looks really good. I think that in the well-lit scenes, with the exception of like vehicle scenes and certain moments, it looks pretty bad. I don't love the art style in certain circumstances, and I do like it a lot in other circumstances. Here, with the high contrast between pure blacks on shadow locations and almost pure whites on white objects in light, right? Like he's standing directly underneath a recessed light bulb. There's some significant and interesting contrast to this. And I don't know if it's intentional in some powerful way where it's like this guy who's running his own business and shit is doing well and we're not or whatever, but I don't know. This scene, this moment where he's looking through the glass strikes me as, what would be the word? I don't think gauche is the word that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the word of like trying to be artsy when you don't know what you're actually trying to express. For example, I mentioned Angel's Egg. Angel's Egg is a very artsy film, but it knows exactly what it's trying to express, and it has its particular style, aesthetic, and like feeling and value and meaning to it. Right? So when characters in that film, you can be pretty sure that anything that happens, you can like read into and be pretty sure that whoever wrote it had their own reading of it that they were trying to present as well. I don't know what the fuck we're trying to present about Noera here. He's looking through his glass because that's what you do in a movie scene like this. That's part of the feeling that is throughout this film, is like we're doing this because it's a trope without understanding why the trope is the trope. Why what does this do? What does this create emotionally for the audience? And that's throughout. I think. Yeah. And I think that's very interesting in its own way to see this thing that is kind of a hodgepodge Frankenstein amalgamation of other pieces of media and references to things without having like a purpose behind it that I can read. It's not saying that there isn't necessarily a purpose or that you can't read one into it, but I don't fucking get it, man. I get these elements of it that I've already expressed, and maybe those are there, and maybe they're supposed to be, and maybe they're not, and maybe we're just trying to make a fucking like college road movie type of movie, you know, where it's like nothing. It's just we got a camera and we got some stuff and we can do stuff, except that it's in animation, and so there's so much more like work put in to make everything look and feel and seem the way that it is, and so you would expect and hope for a bit more forethought, maybe a bit more like insight and a bit more understanding of like the storytelling element of it. But that's the part that's lacking to me. Visually, it's a really interesting film, and there's a lot going on visually. Like even this scene where we have there's like a bit of dust that blows by. I think it's really pretty, and it uses, I think the outdoor sequences in nature use the art style really excellently in a lot of cases. But this like wind that blows by, I think looks pretty fucking great. I think that the vehicles, the jets blowing by, look pretty great too. Now this shot, I have to look up. Because someone shared it to me in my Discord, I think. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's not quite exactly the same. But it's an artist called Eizin Suzuki, and I'll pop it right here so that you can see which piece of art I'm thinking of. And it just blended together in my mind, and I thought it looked more like this than it does. But this is an artist from the 70s and 80s called... I don't know what the art style was called, but it was associated with city pop music. So let me look up Eizin Suzuki as well and see more of that art. Oh yeah. Lots of cars, lots of multicolored things, and very much the Great Pretender style, but also in many ways the style of this film. Very cool. I think Eizin Suzuki's art is really neat looking. I don't think that this film really, in most cases, lives up to that kind of a style. But it tries, to some extent. Maybe. Sort of. I don't know. But this scene is not 100% ripped from that piece of art, obviously. It is similar in some ways, but it's not 100%. Okay, cool. I must be pretty drunk, immediately starts driving. Thanks, bro. And we see a UFO crash out of kind of nowhere. Okay, cool. I don't get this shit in the OP. Is this the moon landing? Because that seems like what this is, but I don't understand it. It's weird. This piece looks exactly like an Eizin Suzuki piece in terms of style, especially with the like multicoloration, like variated colors on this VW bus and stuff. I guess in a large portion of the moments like this, it's really the fidelity and the like lack of quality that creates it takes what an art style that I think is based off of creating intricacy in line work and intricacy in like color variation, like we see on this VW bus, and it all sort of blends together into mud. And that's part of the problem that I have with it. And it happens on some of the character faces too in certain moments. Their faces, the eyes like just blend together into like, that doesn't look like an eye anymore, because of the way that the shadows meld into everything else. And given that we are so particular about picking up facial expressions and picking up facial features, having them look so off and weird and muddled is really unnerving to me. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. So some of these scenes look great. We show him at his house, and it's like a little house thing. He's got his car, he's got his basketball hoop, and this is all we get about him, really. He showers like a goober, which is to say he just faces the water and goes, nice. And we have Girl. Hello, Girl. So this is a scene where I think she looks great. We see the hair on her, and I love her hairstyle. I really do. I really like her hair. I like her whole character design. I just don't like how it functions in certain sequences. Okay, so we go through police report about things, because always the police report tells us everything we need to know about the movie. And then incoming, girl on bike. Hello. Something about not your papa. And then here's where we really for the first time see that face stuff going on. So this lighting style where we've got this one edge above which is shadow and below which is like the brightness on her, the highlights. It's very JoJo's in some ways. Araki draws things this way, but Araki's a very good fucking artist, right? So when he draws things this way, it's to create certain feelings and to create like certain like dramatic shadows and dramatic contrast. And it doesn't get muddled. And here it gets muddled. And we can see it as she moves. Her eyes don't feel like eyes to me. They feel muddled. Usually his face is better, I think. Maybe because he's got more distinctive features and is like more like masculine, you might say, like striking, like distinctive features as opposed to the softer features that she's supposed to have as a young girl. But like, I don't fucking know. Okay, big toraku, and we get our first violence out of fucking nowhere. Fully out of nowhere. It's just like, yeah, wow, that happened. And I can't even express why this feels so balls out weird, but it feels really weird that this violence just happened. It doesn't feel like there's any... I know that we're trying to do it in a way where this is a surprising occurrence to these characters, but I've seen films where surprising violent things happen to characters who aren't expecting them, and there's a flow to it where it doesn't feel to us, the audience, like it comes fully out of fucking nowhere. And here it feels like it comes fully out of fucking nowhere, and there's something wrong there. But I cannot put my finger on it, and nor do I know that I really care to. It's just weird, and I think I'm okay with just saying it's just weird. So we all fall down the hill. I think this is maybe, I mean, it's an interesting scene, but it's maybe like the worst action-y scene that we have is the first one, which is quite striking because there are much better car explosions and cars falling off of cliffs and things later in the film. So the point where it could hook me with the weird violent encounter is not where it does so. Very strange. Cool. So we get cool framing and cool storyboards. Like this moment where she's walking amongst the rubble of these vehicles and there's the rubble of her bike behind her. It feels almost as though she's within a city, right? Like there's something to it that's like big and imposing and like large, and something about it has a feeling to it. And there's something interesting about the framing and the way that these shapes work together and the use of space and all that stuff. And that is carried out throughout the film. And so it means to me that I think that the guy who did the storyboards is pretty good at doing storyboards, because there are some interesting shots throughout this film. Does it execute those in a really interesting way? No. And I think there's a disconnect because to my mind, there are two really great types of compositional artists or storyboarders. There are the ones who are really good at creating cool scenes that look cool in isolation, and there are the ones who are really good at creating cool scenes that care less about looking cool than they do about expressing what needs to be expressed for the purposes of the story. Key portion in storyboard. Either one creates a different feel in their work and creates a different feel throughout the work because they are so important to creating the like vibe and feel and look of everything. But I think the one who is more dedicated to creating individually cool scenes will create more clashing visuals across scenes, and they won't flow as well with the narrative, obviously, as one who is more dedicated to expressing narrative via composition. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. This whole movie strikes me as art for the sake of art and less for the sake of expressing something interesting. And that's a bit unfortunate. I think it's viable. You can do it. You can make art that's just there to look cool, but I think that it misses the point. Because I think the point of art is to be densely coagulated information that is expressed to the viewer in a way that maybe the viewer can't explicitly understand but implicitly understands to some extent. And I think the greatest art is that expresses something that maybe changes something within you without you understanding why. And this is not that. I think mostly this is just art that looks cool because it looks cool and we want to make something that looks cool. And that's fine, but it's not as good. Right? Like there's something missing to this. And it's not just that there's no characterization of our characters and that the story doesn't really matter. It's also that none of it feels like it's really trying to make it matter. That's a little sad. It feels a little bit hollow, a little bit like the glass sphere at the end, right? And so maybe that's the point? No, you can't do that. You can't have that. You can't just be like, and it was all for nothing, and have me be like, okay, I guess it was all for nothing. Cool. Great message, guys. If it was all for nothing, then why did you spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and like hundreds of man hours storyboarding it and writing the script and getting the voice acting done and doing the sound effects and getting the music licensed or written and created and drawing all the things and painting all the things on fucking cells because it's 1986 in order to create this stylistically interesting to some extent? Why, if it's all for nothing, then what was it all for, right? Like, that's bullshit. Hard bullshit. You don't make a piece like this without thinking that you're making something, unless you're just in it for the money. And I don't think that this was a financially like successful piece. So why then? Because whatever else you say about the film, there is a ton of effort put into it. Is it just effort that's not directed towards something that I find of value? Maybe. And that's kind of sad. And again, maybe that's kind of the point. Because, like, the characters put a bunch of effort into something and chasing this, like, ethereal dream, and it ends up being for nothing. It's deeply sad and deeply nihilistic, and maybe that's the point. I don't know. Okay, we're only a few minutes in, but I want to take a break. I'm going to go to the bathroom. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, back at it. We're gonna move through. So this is the scene that I think is the worst in terms of her face's look. It just looks really weird to me, and I think a lot of that is just the fuzziness of it, and then the like dark rings around the iris, darkness of the pupil, darkness around the entire eye, and it just doesn't work. It just straight up does not work. Her hair is great though. Hair's great. She looks fucking weird though. Okay. Damn, trailer's nothing but trouble, blah, blah. We drop the thing, and then we have a weird woo for no reason. Again, this is a plot device sort of thing to tell us where we need to go. But it is also it works with the whole American dream thing. It's like an ethereal vision of something beyond, right? And it fits with some of the other stuff. We're there to get our hands on a grand dream, to look above ourselves and like be something great, but it's a lie, it's a falsehood, right? It's a nothing dream. It's a non-dream. It's an obsession. right? I will say this particular art style lends itself really well to extraordinary looking fabric, and the fabric throughout this film looks fantastic. It also works really well for hair. So the hair and the fabric in the film looks great. Skin and eyes in the film, maybe not so much. But hair and fabric look great. Metal and shiny objects look great. So I think it's a good thing that we end up being like a chase sequence movie with a lot of flowing fabric. It ends up looking really good. Okay. American Dream. Why? Why? Is it because this is the thing that will pull him out of his continuous drunken reverie? I'm thinking too much about it. I want it to be a valuable symbolism, right? But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not. And that's sad. So she yoinks him, and I was like, well, there's something going on, and he resists, but he still keeps going. And they talk, and it must be something about the UFO, and so blah, blah, blah. And so some dudes just walk in, and we make a big dude who's like, I thought this was a setup for something to happen with the big dude, and then it's just not. They just walk in and yoink, guns out. Fuck. So we dive through the window, and off we go. Great. Big chase scene. So again, vehicles look great. Sometimes they're not the super highest fidelity, but they do look great, and the shadows on them look great. Blam, 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 blam. A lot of these scenes read to me as like very classic action movie scenes. Turn a corner really fast on a dirt road and dirt goes flying. Zoom through a place and dodge a bunch of bikers, right? Like tip over a Greyhound bus and stuff. Very classical scenes. But they don't really flow together very well. And then, of course, she throws a bunch of our important shit out the window. I do want to see what flies out the window, because it looks like at least one thing is like a wallet. Oh, are they porn? I think it's just porn. And then my tools, which I would need. It's actually a fun setup. I maybe would need to fix the car. And then a full seat. Girl is strong. Does her squats. Good shit. Yeah. Okay, so more shit. Oh yeah, and then there's the front-facing camera, which is very. This fits a different type of movie. This fits like the comedy road movie. Is the on-dash camera driving through a bunch of shit, right? Super different, super weird, super wonky. And yeah, I think somebody says at some point, I hate police. Way before its time. Okay. All right, and we escape. And we go through an intersection because that's classic. And we cause a multi-car pileup because fuck human life. None of it matters. Oh, right. And then the classic train sequence. We dodge through the train and they can't dodge through the train. And then, again, this is like comedy moment movie thing where the front of their car gets dinked into the train. And then the train stops going by. And they're like sitting there going, ooh, you know, they got like birds flying around their head. Ooh, and a thing at the last minute comically falls off of it, right? That's timing and function and scene as a whole. Very much a thing that is just ripped from other things and is just a trope that's here. But it's a wide trope. It's like usually that trope kind of thing is used in like it's a weird way to put it, but it's like in Home Alone, where it's like the hero is foiling the bad guys who are actually really bad at their job, right? But that's not the setup here, right? What? Okay. It's a little confused. It's a lot confused. It's muddled. So here, a very Kawajiri-esque scene with light on darkness, right? High contrast, interesting scene for no reason. Doesn't really do anything for us. But it does have Captain Jack, or whatever his name is, Jack Vargo talking to us, right?
働き詰めですからね。大佐にまともに付き合ってたら命がいくつあっても足りんさ。
All right. Who is the voice actor for Captain Jack Vargo? Because that dude is super familiar, and I'm guessing he's from Gingeiyu Densetsu at some point. Hopefully it's listed somewhere. I would love to know. So I'm going to look it up now. Vero is what he's listed as. Whoops, my bad. Kaneto Shiozawa, not a name that I recognize, but let's see if I recognize his stuff. He plays Meryl Yanagawa, Mr. David Bowie in Cyber City OEDO 808. So that's something. He's fucking Oberstein. He's Oberstein. Oh, that's who he is. I knew he was from Genga AU Densetsu. He is Paul von Oberstein. Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. 100%. Fantastic. Okay, now that's why he something in the deep back of my like reptile brain was like, I don't trust this man. Oh, and that is exactly it. He also plays, I think he plays D in Vampire Hunter D. I don't know if he plays it in Bloodlust as well. He does not. So only Vampire Hunter D, the series, which is why I don't recognize him from it. Fantastic. Oh, well, that's new. That's actually a really interesting thing. He plays Clamp, who is the second in command of Ramba Ral in Mobile Suit Gundam, as well as a bunch of other supporting characters, including Makave. Wouldn't have tracked that. Including Makave in Mobile Suit Gundam. How interesting. Absolutely wonderful. But it's the Oberstein connection that is the one that I'm getting, that I picked up there. I was like, he's somebody. He's definitely somebody, and he sure is. Okay. To the captain, we're nothing more than babies, and something about having multiple lives. I don't fucking get it. We're in Orange County. He's still drinking and driving and drinking and driving. Away we go. I thought this was a setup like we were going to go to his friend's house, and I thought immediately, like, this is the son of a friend of his that's doing okay, and the friend is the old dude sitting in the chair watching his son be a basketball player too. No, we're just here to use a payphone. And then we're here to have a classic, usually end of second act, split up of our characters, which doesn't last very long and isn't well-timed and doesn't really work here. And also to overhear, just through coincidence, to overhear the bad guy tell us all his bad plans. Thanks, bro. So we pick the girl up and off we go again. And it's baby, which doesn't mean anything. So classic vanity plate that doesn't fucking mean anything. Nice. And our car breaks down, so we run on the road. And then we get into my favorite sequence of the whole thing. One, because it's dark. And all of the lighting scheme works way better when it's dark. Cool cars. Cool lights, cool neon shit, and the music kicks in. We walk by the rocky thing. She's drinking too, I guess. Yep, she is. And this is just the way of things. And we start off a fucking... a fucking rad music number for no reason except that we can. And I'm down. I will say, this drummer is... a little bit coked out, man, and doesn't fit the actual drumming at all. It's great because he starts out like hitting time, right? And then just goes into like fully has a seizure on the drums there. Wow. So these scenes are, you know, flat single color neon background with light and dark character, very Apple iPod commercial, OG iPod commercial sort of feel to it. And they're fucking rad. The whole sequence is fucking rad. The lighting scheme works perfectly for the music video. Perfectly. It works perfectly. The woman, the singer looks great. The hair thing looks amazing. Even the camera movements are fucking cool. The dancing is dope. This scene where they're less like hard shell, like hard outline, and more fuzzed out and more like oil painty, it works amazingly. It looks awesome. And then we intercut that with the chase scene that occurs on foot, which also looks really good. Now, does the chase scene plus music video thing work? Yeah, because it's a fucking trope that's used all over the place. And it works really well. And it looks really good. Like, here's an example of good framing that's also good, like, storytelling framing, right? big object taking up most of the foreground is the reason that they're fighting. He throws her away from it and runs over to grab it. Good framing. Solid. And then it gets a little muddled. Drummer boy is just out of his gourd. This whole thing, the character acting on this sequence for the dancing, for the dancers, for the musicians is excellent. I mean, truly excellent. It's truly really good. Maybe I think it's the best thing in the movie. Just yoinking people, running through stuff. This drummer, though, he's the one flaw. He's really the one flaw here. What the fuck? And of course, there's the other element, which is that the way the people are doing the things doesn't really match with the music, and there's like some cognitive dissonance there. But who gives a shit? It all looks amazing, and it sounds really good too. Song's great. We give it that pause, and we reset, and we restart everything as we continue on with the chase sequence. It's great. It's fucking great. I think this is the one where, yeah, we go this hard pop art style, and we get this, like, really flowy shot around it. No, it's not this. It's just the drummer wigging out. full glitching over there. What that? So she does this thing. Pop. And it's a full pop, you know? It's really good. Extraordinarily expressive. Oh, this is the one with the big flowy shot where she does this like way too fast spin into flow up to camera, into flow away. I want to see this animation style just used for a music show, for a music anime. Like, just fuck the whole space mind eyeball thing. Fuck the whole car chase sequence thing. Fuck all of that. Just give me the story of this band doing band stuff, doing drugs in LA, and doing concerts. Like, that's all I need. Okay, so we duck into a bar and lose the Kremlin officers by just running into a bar. Nice. Nice, baby. All right, we got the ball out. The musical number continues on and is way smaller a stage than I thought it was, but who cares? And Jack Varro just goes up and starts fully dancing with the chick. This is a weird moment because it looks like he's like assaulting her and she like fully throws him away. But then they immediately snap into each other and are like dancing in time exactly with each other. Weird, real weird, hard to read as a scene. Jack Varro! And everybody turns around and the music stops and we hang out with Jack Varro for a while. Why? Why do we have a connection with the dude who was our fucking basketball player and he went off to the Air Force and is a genius? It doesn't come back to play in any way, shape, or form, does it? Right? Like, he still shoots at them. And there's no like, oh, the drama. Jack Varro must make a choice now. Does he follow his orders or shoot his former friend from high school who's now a drunk bum? No, he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do my job, I shoot him. I shoot him. What the fuck? Okay, and then we do a lot to set up that there's this whole history between these characters that like know each other. John F. Kennedy, and he's like, oh, Mr. What's his face at the place that gives us cookies. Har har. Hee hee. Funny joke that I tell to my teachers. I get the circumstance, like they're asking each of the students what they want to, who they look up to, and they're responding to those. But like, and it's also to set up that they have a history and that they've got these inside jokes and stuff, and Marsha's on the outs on it. But What the fuck? Yeah, where'd you pick up such a young girl? You were a big fucker back in high school. You banged all the chicks. Good for you. Sergeant, we have to go. Okay, we have to go. And what's the name of his place? Okay, cool. Leroy has a place. Cool. None of it matters. Zero matter. Great looking shot. I think this shot looks great. Just looks great. Color on point. Style on point. Edge lighting and lighting of the hair. Gorgeous. Emotional features, like, feel emotional but don't mean anything. Excellent. Okay, so she strips down and strikes this, like, classic model cover pose. Like, fully a classic model cover pose. Tries to, like, doesn't really try to seduce him. Is just like, wanna fuck? And he's like, nah, you're young. Okay. And so off she goes to shower. Cool. Scene doesn't do anything, doesn't mean anything. It just implies nudity, and I guess that's something we needed to do to try to sell videos. What? Why? Or is this like the Japanese 1986 Japan perspective on the sexual openness of American women, and it's like indicting that? That could track. That could track here. Like, oh, how horrifying this young girl is, like, wanna fuck? But you do that so much better in so many other ways. All right, whatever. Okay, so we sit here, and this is a perfect setup for something creepy to happen behind him in the window. And I guess the creepiest thing in the world does, which is an underage girl. Ah! Terrifying. God, look at the fabric. It looks so good. So, fuck all the, like, implied nudity scenes. Ooh, so sexy. Who cares? Look at this sexy-ass fabric, though. Look at this shit. Look at that. That's fucking sick. That's hot. And then the blanket, that's hot. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! Look at the folds of fabric there, man. That's dope. Mm-hmm. That sheet could get it. Sorry. I'm having fun with the idea. But like, seriously, the fabric looks great. Just keeps looking great. Okay, so yes, we are America. We just follow orders. But it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we go buy a car. And she gets the price down on the car. God damn. $1,200 for a fucking pickup truck in 24 payments of $50 each. Back in the day, baby. I know, I understand how inflation works and how that's not the same, like, amount of money that it is, but back in the day, baby. Woo! I love the color swap. So everything looks completely different when they get into the new car. And part of that is that we just come from the night sequences and we get into it, but it feels like we're home free. We're in a blue pickup truck and we got green and blue around us, and that's all there is. It's all the color in the world. And he's doing us stupid for no reason. He's the worst driver. Why we're staying with him, I don't know. And we have like a conversation. Okay, so this character is like the cabin in the woods harbinger, right? Where we pull up to somewhere and the guy's like, there's bad stuff up ahead. Don't go any further. And so the characters have to make the choice to go further anyway. He said that none of it really matters. What are you looking for in Death Valley? American Dream. Young birds fly up in the light of the sun and then get burned is the way that this goes, but no. The old birds sleep in the light of the sun. What? So he says a thing that doesn't mean anything, and we go full America, drink our Cokes, not light. I didn't know that light Coke existed. It's a weird thing. We cut back to the Air Force Base, and I love these shots. These shots of the Air Force Base are great. It is looming, it is big, it is mechanical, it is empty of people, and it is imposing. And I like these shots a lot. They actually tell a bit of story here. Ooh, something, yoo-ho! And we get this one still frame that is maybe my favorite, like, or one of my favorite single frames in the film. It looks really good. I don't know why. Okay, and then bad guy fully just pulls up next to us and is like, blam, blam, stop. blam, 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 and we go off on a chase scene that looks good and has some badass action movie moments to it. Very Indiana Jones, jump from car to car, go over a cliff and you're in the back of a pickup truck. Oops, you fucked up. Now we have your gun. So we talk, we chat, we talk, we chat. He gets, he realizes that they don't know what the fuck they're doing and are just muddling up in secret government affairs for no fucking reason because they think it's the right thing to do, but they have no idea. This whole battle and the helicopters and the mechanical stuff and the guns all looks great. It really does just look great. I gotta give it to the film. It manages to make this whole action sequence really cool. Now, I mean, it's a weird action sequence where we end up in a fully busted up car with like the wheels popped out. Oh, how do we get a vanity plate? Weird. And get picked up by a chopper, which is crazy and is a great scene and is insane, but it happens. We bash into another chopper, get part of our car broken up, and we get destroyed completely. And then, of course, the chopper getting its helicopter cup things chopped up in something, and a big spinning out explosion. Ultra impressive stuff, like incredible animation on some of these things. I cannot express that like a lot of the mechanical things and a lot of the vehicular things are truly deeply impressive, especially for the time. But even then, like truly deeply impressive. And then Vero is just like, we will complete the mission because he has no character. And she screams, please save us, UFO. This scene is bonkers. Is it on twos even? It is on twos. With the exception of the flashing of the lights. So that's faster. That's incredible. It's an incredible scene. Fully background animated. And we go off the cliff and we fall down and we die. If only. So we end up underwater. We get a cool scene. We grab the thing. It glows weirdly. I guess that it's the light within it gets broken and it like pours out into the water and that's why it all glows and becomes a rainbow. I don't fucking know. But we look at this ethereal thing, the rainbow, which is temporary. The cat shakes off and we find that the dream we were carrying is cracked and shattered and empty and hollow. And so we look through it and there's nothing there. And we zoom all the way out and we get the ED. What the fuck was the point of any of it? I don't fucking know. Maybe that's the point of all of it. I don't fucking know. The point is that there's no point? Great. Cool. Neat. Then why did you put hundreds and hundreds of hours into making it this way? Because it looks great in some circumstances, and none of that is leveraged toward making it interesting in any circumstance. So I'm really torn about this thing, because on the one hand, it's deeply impressive. It does some really unique stuff. It's got an art style truly unlike anything that I've ever seen. And in some cases, in some portions of the film, it actually utilizes that art style to a great extent for cool moments. But those moments don't flow together in any meaningful way. And the story that it seems to be trying to tell, which it doesn't seem to be doing very well, is not a story that I like very much. It lacks anything for me to actually attach to or to be emotionally invested in, except for the quality of the art itself. And again, it brings me to this idea of making art that's really pretty, but it doesn't say anything. And I feel like that misses the point of art as a whole. And you could say, like, okay, we can get a little bit more postmodern with this and say that, like, okay, the point of art doesn't exist and you put your own perceptions and your own interpretations on whatever you see and yada yada. And I disagree with that fundamentally. I think you can interpret art in multiple ways no matter what. But I think that there is the capacity for art to say something. And I think if you disagree with that, you're actually just wrong. Art has been used to say important things for as long as we've had the idea of art. So I can't agree with that interpretation, but maybe that may be the interpretation that is at the core of the like film, is that we can just make something that looks pretty because it looks pretty, and not only will it sell and we'll make money off of it, which is the cynical side of things, but we'll tell a story that doesn't matter and nobody will care. And perhaps there's an element of like that's the kind of story that American film tells and the kind of story that fits the American life that we're trying to express. So maybe there is something to it, and maybe there isn't. I give it like a 6. It's a cool one. It's an interesting piece of time, and nothing else that I've ever seen looks anything like it, which makes it very interesting from a purely visual standpoint. And it's got some obvious and significant talent behind it. Some of those chase scenes and the helicopter scenes, and explosions, and like even some of the hand-to-hand fight scenes in the dark, and the whole musical moment have some really extraordinary character acting and vehicular stuff and sense of scale and like style and creating reality. But it's all leveraged towards something that just sort of goes, and I don't feel anything about it. Except disappointment that I don't feel anything about it, which is most of what the emotion that I've been expressing over this whole thing has been, is like, gosh darn it, why isn't it better? Because obviously a lot of really talented people put a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort into this, and I hope that they got paid moderately okay for doing so, though I don't necessarily trust that they did. But I hope that they did, given that this was during the sort of boom of this kind of an OVA. But this is no tour de force. This is no great masterpiece. It kind of feels like a bunch of people doing their jobs made a thing that is kind of about just kind of going and like doing something that's kind of empty. That's sad to me. There's something sad about it. And maybe that's the point. I don't know. Okay, I think I've said all of my pieces, and I have said my piece. So, I've been Tiabu. This has been California Crisis Gun Salvo. What a weird OVA. It certainly caused a bunch of discussion to occur. Interesting, to some extent. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed at least the visual elements and the flow of the whole thing and the feel of the whole thing. If you've got thoughts about this one, or if you've got information about it from the perspective of the people who worked on it and anything like that, I would love to see that kind of stuff. Because this is a piece that makes me curious, but maybe not that curious. It's simultaneously really impressive and really forgettable. I don't know. But I've kind of enjoyed it in a weird way and kind of hated it in a weird way. So again, I'm very torn. I hope you've enjoyed it to some extent, and at least you don't feel like it was a complete waste of your time to watch it and talk about it. If you like this content, if you like the videos, you can check out the Patreon down in the description. It's really appreciated. Also, just liking the video and commenting and subscribing and stuff also helps get these videos out there. So that's also appreciated. Regardless, I will see you next week for another journey into some older OVA, and I don't know what I'll watch next, but it will be something. See you there. Peace.